TV hagaha hiigsiga humaaga hirka iyo horumarka guud ahaan geyiga geeska Afrika. Dab TV.
Thank you very much, viewers, for joining us today. We are very honored to have the Deputy Chairman of the Oromo Federalist Congress, Mr. Obbo Mulaatuu. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Fine, you?
Doing good.
Thank you
again.
very much.
Thank you again for joining us. As part of our ongoing programming to discuss issues in the Horn of Africa, particularly Ethiopia, we have a very distinguished politician, a very serious player in the Ethiopia political scene, Mr. Obbo Mulaatuu. He's a deputy chairman of the Oromo Federalist Congress. This is a very large and expansive organization that covers a large swath of the population. And we're going to be discussing very important and critical issues as of today. Our program is going to be two parts. The first part will be in English. We're joined by Mr. Yassine, our senior director at Dub TV. And then the second part will be joined by Mr. Atnafu, and we will carry that part in Amharic. So, sir, thank you again for joining us today. Mr. Obbo, you can hear me, sir.
Yep. Phone is coming. Yeah, disturbing us. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. This is the issues with live TV.
No, it's okay.
Now you're very good. Thank you. So the first question, we saw recently in the last few days, a lot of changes have been going on. After the release of many of the political prisoners, particularly that belong to your organization, the federal government of Ethiopia went ahead and called for a national dialogue. How does the OFC see the national dialogue, first of all? Can you give us an idea of what is your perspective on the national dialogue? And then secondly, after the gesture by the federal government, OFC decided to withdraw from the national dialogue or not join it. Could you explain that to us, please?
Thank you very much. Really, as introductory told you that, try to tell you that OFC initially started this national dialogue. Government didn't listen to us, and we went into the election. The purpose of election has probably three things. One, if we make election in Ethiopia, as you know, Ethiopia has so many problems. We have differences in constitutional law, in historical backgrounds, in economic resource, and in social, in economic and political. All these we have differences. In order to solve those differences, pre-election, we have to make this dialogue. We said government didn't give attention to that. After we make election, as you know, war is going on throughout the country in all over the directions, not only the northern parts, but if you take Oromia as a whole, today it is a war place. No one can go peacefully from one direction to the other direction, from one region to the other. So we have security problems in the country. To solve all our differences, we have to come to the table and sit, discuss our problems and issues, resolve, and then we tried to make some reconciliations, but we couldn't. Finally, when the government went into the National Dialogue Commission, the setup of the commission is not the way we decided. But government, one party, parliament is almost 98% is controlled by the government, the party and the government, they are all the same. they are controlling, they are establishing this. National dialogue cannot be established by one party. So different groups in the country has to participate in that, and the commission has to be established. That we have said, we have informed the government not to go forward, but independent bodies should sit down and try to make all the sort outs and the commission screening, and they didn't accept, and they are now promoting it.
So what you're saying is then since only one party is controlling the national dialogue, it's not really a national dialogue. What other conditions do you have that you've placed on the national dialogue as the government is running it? What other conditions have you placed on it that you will join any future dialogue? You said it's not independent. Do you need outside international parties to come and mediate? How do you see the national dialogue that you would join?
Thank you very much. Our idea is that in order to conduct the national dialogue, there should be a mechanism has to be set out by government, which is confidence measuring, confidence building measure setups has to be made before. That is to release the politically detained people, the leaders, political party leaders are now detained. They are in jail. And the war is going on now. The war has to be stopped. Those people has to be released. And the conditions for democracy has to be established. And then all the opposing parties should come, those who are now participating in the dialogue has to come on board and then decide who will mediate them. Not the government, the ruling party and government, but those people who are coming to discuss, who do have the issues. Those people should come, parties, individuals who has a problem will come into board and then have a common discussion and elect who will lead them. It can be, as you have said, from outside or else inside. The decision is up to those people who are deciding about this.
Okay, Yassine?
Okay, so let me clarify something. I thought the Prime Minister released all the political prisoners because your political leadership, some of them has been released. How many is left on your side that who are in jail? First, that question, then I'll follow up.
Almost, if you take in Oromia, almost 10,000 people are now detained. Not only in Addis, you know, Johar Mohammed is a figure people and all the medias know, and every time they are promoting Johar Mohammed, but not only Johar, others in the region are now detained. They didn't release. With the file of Johar, almost 23 people have been released. Others are still in jail. If you take the OLF part, they are in jail now, including Ato Dawid Ibsa, the chairman of OLF. He is in jail now. With these people keeping in jail, how can you discuss the national dialogue? The dialogue has to be conducted with those people. They do have grievances. They do have problems. They do have issues. They do have political questions. So it's one part. The other thing is what is going now. Where the war is going on, how can you sit down and discuss? That's impossible. every party, government, including all the opposition parties, has to stop war and then come to the desk, to the table.
In terms of the war that's going on, already the Prime Minister released a few TPLF leadership that who were captured in the war. Was that the right decision to do it?
Yes, it's right decision, and even we want to release all the people who are detained now. War is that correct war or wrong war? Really, it is questionable. The war is different question. That is so.
Do the OFC believe that the war is wrong war? The fighting between TPLF and the federal government is the wrong war? Is that your position for the organization?
Is a wrong war, yeah. Both sides, they conducted a wrong war. That is a one-party division. That is, they have been in EPRDF. Those in EPRDF divided into two. One is in Mekelle, TPLF established this center in Mekelle. The other one has established it as a Prosperity Party from EPRDF. They are from the same party. So division created among themselves, and finally war is going on now.
Forgive me, my friend, but I think the TPLF is the one that started this war.
I don't think.
So what's your position? Who started this war? And who's responsible for this war?
The government is telling us I've started. And they say, the TPLF is saying, I didn't start. They started first, they say. So who started first? Really, this has to be checked by externals, by external body. Still, nobody has checked this.
So, from what everybody has seen, the TPLF attacked the military bases of the government. That's not the position that OFC believes.
TPLF is saying that I'm sided. Government is going to attack me, including Eritrea, Kuwait, others, and drones are coming. So I'm afraid of this, and then in order to save my life, I did it this way. And they are talking this. Who is wrong, who is right, really is very difficult to know at this juncture.
Fair enough. Let's move on from that. And so if the national dialogue, do you believe that the TPLF should be part of the national dialogue?
Unless otherwise we include those people who are holding guns, how the national dialogue is possible? It's impossible. With whom are you going to conduct the national dialogue? And what's the result? The end result will not bring peace.
Yeah. So for my perspective, the national dialogue, the amount of the majority are men, the way we've seen it. Majority are over 60. Women are less than like 10% of the people that the government has selected. Did the government consult with your organization? How will the national dialogue selection process is being put together?
If the government is on proper track and we are ready to make this, as you know, OFC has few women proportionally. Of course, against men there are few, but in this respect, we can join the national dialogue. This cannot create problem to us.
Okay, so the current economic and social social issues of the country right now. There's a war that you explained. the economy right now is basically the inflation is getting higher and higher. The political stalemate between either the government and TPLF is what led this war. The Oromo region, there's a war going on, and more. Some might say the Oromo, the Amhara region, the Afar region. Do you think this is sustainable? Can the economy be sustained knowing all this is happening with the inflation? And what is your solution? What is your way out as your one of the biggest organizations in Ethiopia?
That's why we say we are now, from time to time, the country is now declining. As you have said, inflation is running up now, escalating. Things are very, very, very tough, and the starvation is going on. People have been displaced. So many people are displaced. And around 24,000 million people are now starving. And the war is going on all directions. And so, unless and otherwise we sit down and discuss our issues, the country is devastating. So, the solution can be done with all people, with all political parties, and all any problems. To resolve our problems, we have to come for national dialogue, sit and solve our problem. Unless otherwise, really the country can be in question. Whether we exist as a country or not, really very difficult. Not as a propaganda we are now doing from Addis. So really, in all aspects, Oromia, for example, we cannot move into Oromia now. All over, there is no peace. If you go to, I don't know, Somali region, still there is a problem, I think. If you take the Amara region, all over, Amara and Agao, they are in fighting, and others groups are now fighting. Tigray and Amara are fighting now. So the war is going on. Tigray and Afar is now severe war is going on now today, even today. So really all over the country there is a war. So the solution can be done. All people has to come. They have to come together and discuss the issues and resolve what we have to do in the future in order to save the country.
Okay, before I return to Guled, I have one more follow-up question. Yes, you mentioned in Somali region there's a drought that's happening right now, and everywhere else. But my concern is that Ethiopia right now, the leadership of different political parties, some, as you mentioned, is in jail. But if the government does not respect your positions right now, you withdraw. The ONLF already withdraw. The OLF and Oromo Federalist, all of them say they're not going to participate. If the government move forward, what's your position? What will you do if this dialogue without you, without your organizations, if the government goes forward?
Thank you very much. If the government keeps its position and moves as it is now, probably it cannot save the country. This we believe. The other thing is, if the government doesn't release politically detained people, and if the war cannot stop, if it moves as it is and to get legitimized its seat now, the war is going on. There is no peace in the country. I don't know where we end up. But as OFC, still our people are struggling. So the struggle will go forward with our people. We do what we can do. Unless otherwise, we don't have any way at all.
Okay, I'll get back to you. So what you can do is what? So you will accept the status quo?
No, peacefully we will continue our struggling.
Okay, I'll get back to you. Good.
Well, thank you very much, sir, for asking for answering our questions. How much of a coordination is there now between the OFC, OLF, and ONLF? Is it beyond just with respect to the national dialogue? Are you all in lockstep in every step and vision in terms of Ethiopia?
Still, we are in good condition. We agree each other and we move together. We share our problems and we are together now. Still, there is no difference among us.
I see. So the difference, I mean, in terms of organizational structure, is the OLF is a liberation front. ONLF is also a liberation front. How does OFC see the makeup of the other organizations as a liberation front or paramilitary front, and OFC is not? How does that synergy work?
Oh, it's good. Thank you. As you know, the country now two different political issues. One is the federalist part and the other is unitary part. Those other nationalities out of Oromo, like Somali, Afar, Gambela, Gumuz, and others, like the northern parts, the southern parts. Really, we want to join with the Mohandis. We do have the problem, the same problem. We are on the same situation. So we want to have joint hands, and OLF and the OFC will move together, and we hope that we can. We are planning to have the same organization, not two different organizations, one organization. We are planning that. So we are moving towards to that.
Oh, that's a good news.
Very good.
So my final question is, are you the Constitution in terms of the how it is? Are you open your organization? Is your organization open for a review of the Constitution, including changing for ethnic federalism to Unitarian?
No, we are not going to change the Constitution. Constitution can be improved from time to time, which goes with the situation, because this Constitution has established 25 or 26 years back. So some improvements has to be made. We believe in improving that, but in total destruction of the Constitution and writing another Constitution, we don't have that idea. We want to respect this Constitution.
I know my friend Aknafu will be covering on this, but I'm just want to ask you this question in terms of the problem of Ethiopia. A lot of people are arguing because of this ethnic federalism. Because of ethnic federalism, this is where we are. That's why we are fighting each other. Every ethnic, every group is fighting for its own. Ethiopia, as is not a one country, but a multi-nations country, and each region is not aware of what's happening in the other region. You have every region has its own army. Every region has its own economy, and every region has its own TV channels and all that, and they talk to only itself. So there cannot be a country that have a small pockets of country within. What do you say to that?
Historically, if you go back to the Ethiopian history and before 1991, the Ethiopian for 150 years, it has been the unitary government. Type of government is unitary. Those people who are for that, very few were benefited out of that, while other masses and the other nation and nationalities and people are suffering. They were the people who were somewhat took the advantage. Those people are today shouting that against the federalist and saying that this is doesn't respect the total Ethiopian people equality. They said some people were favored. This is ethnic. Is not. Nation and nationality question was before 1974. It was really very, very, very critical. And in 1991, this has been changed into federal state. When the federal state mass has got the right to respect equality. Among people, there is equality, but this federalism didn't practically work in the country because OLF and EPRDF, they did as a unitary. And finally, when it comes to 2018, all people said that federalism should be respected and the constitutional law has to be respected, rule of law has to be respected, said. But government itself doesn't want that. It is now trying to go back to 1991, the unitary type of government. This doesn't work because Oromo wants stride, Amara wants, Tigray wants stride, and Somalia wants stride. Every nation and nationality want the right to the exercise and want to administer themselves. So this they have to determine themselves. So this is the difference between us and which, as you have said, the media, all these things, the unitary party is now taking over and now shouting on us now. That's it. This doesn't work. It's completely devastate the country. If you go like that, that is, it will bring us a type of government which is before 1991.
Thank you very much.
We don't want to go to that one. Yeah.
I'm sure this will be a good segue for Atnafu, but before that, is there any message that you send to the international community right now before we go to the Amharic program? A message for the international community and Ethiopia.
Message?
Yeah, any message for international community and the Ethiopian people?
What I say is my message is that international organizations really, last time when we still the war which is going on to settle it, really the UN, European Union, American government, British government, France, German, all governments, really they are telling us that to sit together and solve our problems. But still we didn't come to the table. If we come to the table and negotiate, we can solve our problems. So what I want to urge other international organizations just to help us to come to the table. Everybody, we can gain, we can no gain from war. If we come together and sit together, we can gain from out of that. So international organizations as well as the international community will should help us to bring us to the table.
Thank you very much.